All right, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, Town Hall, Batesburg-Leesville, special council meeting April 21st at the Town Hall complex here in Batesburg-Leesville. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Item 2 is the invocation. Councilmember Prowse, if you would do us the honor, please.
Let's pray. Father, I thank you tonight for your grace, for your mercy, for your love for us. I just pray, God, as we set about doing business with the people in town here, you come in our midst and bring the wisdom and the understanding that only you can provide. And I pray this request in the name of my Lord Jesus Christ.
And thank you, sir. At this time, the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Gambrell, if you would.
Let us stand. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Prowse, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wise. Any discussion? District 1?
This one was yes.
2?
Yes.
3?
This is me, Brother Jeff.
4? District 4? Ted, will you please unmute the council member?
Sorry.
District 4?
Yes.
Thank you. District 5?
Yes.
6?
Yes.
7?
7?
Yes.
8?
Yes.
And I vote yes, the agenda has been approved. Item 5, old business. This is first reading, ordinance to rezone properties located at 259 West Church Street, which was tabled. Do I have a motion to take it from the table?
Yeah, I motion to untable this first reading ordinance rezone properties located at 259 West Church Street and also the portion of 210 North Carolina Avenue.
Motion to take from the table by Mr. Wise, a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Prowse. It is removed from the table. At this time, I'm going to turn the discussion over to the town manager for the new information.
Okay, last meeting, there were a couple items that were brought up by council that they wish to see or have to move forward with this rezoning request. One of the items was there was a question about the number of accidents that occur at the intersection of North Carolina Avenue and West Church Street. I have provided each of you a copy in front of your seat of the traffic stats from 2015 through April 14th of this month in this year. As you will see, in 2015, there were 3 total accidents at this intersection. 2016, 5, 2017, 3, 2018, 3, 2019, 3, and to date in 2020, we have had 2. One thing to point out, we included some of the other major intersections in town just as a point of reference on what occurs at those intersections. The percentage that you see out beside each of those total accidents is not just at these intersections, but that's the percentage based on the total number of accidents the police department has worked through those years.
Inside the municipality, Mr.
Inside the municipality. So wanted to provide council with that information that was requested. Now, we do have Chad Meldrum and Jim from Wyatt Development who are the ones seeking this rezoning and doing this development. They are with us tonight by phone. They were hoping to be on, but they've got audio issues with getting audio through the computer, so they are joining by telephone. I will utilize the microphone tonight, but they would like to address, they have looked at some of the traffic analysis information, and they have got some answers to some other questions, and I'll turn it over to them at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Luckadoo. My name is Jim Price. I'm work here at WWTW Investments Inc., which is out of Sage Valley. Our client, Sprint Foods Inc., is requesting an opportunity to come to your community, and we are very thankful that y'all have provided us this opportunity and to have this special meeting. And we are here to answer any and all questions you may have. A couple of items came up. Number one, regarding lighting, site lighting. This site will be a 24-hour operation. All of our site lighting is shielded LED lighting, mounted on 25-foot direct bearing poles. It's directed inward so that the light does not escape to the adjoining properties. Noise and safety. We will secure the property with 6-foot high fencing on the side yard and the rear yard. We will provide quality landscaping around that perimeter, and that helps soften the perimeter, and it really keeps people and trash from moving across adjoining properties. So we take care of our own property, but that's an additional assurance. Traffic generation, there was some question about traffic generation to us from Mr. Luckadoo. As you folks know, West Church Street in this particular area carries about 6,900 vehicles a day. And we have hired AECOM, Mr. Ryan Eckenrod. He's our traffic engineer out of Greenville, South Carolina. When we looked at the trip generation reports required for Sprint Foods, it has 6 service stations and it's 6 outlets. We will generate really in peak hour in the morning. It will only generate 29 more vehicles that are on the road right now, and in the evening, at peak hour, we will only generate 38 additional vehicles.
Jim, is that total or is that within a time frame?
That's within a time frame that's within a time frame, additional vehicles that are on the road. Right now, you have 6,900 vehicles a day on the road. And that's passed by traffic that we will be capturing. And what we will add to that 6,900 is additional trips of 29 vehicles in the morning and 38 in the evening. We do, SCDOT has already looked at this plan. They're the folks that ask us to align Mill Street with one of our driveways. These driveways have been looked at by SCDOT. They requested us to do a traffic study, and we are underway with that traffic study. I can assure you we're going to do everything that SCDOT requires us to do. If we don't have smooth, safe ingress and egress into our properties, that's not a place for us to be. If you folks have any questions, we'll be glad to try to answer them for you.
I have a question.
Okay, we got a question, Jim.
Did you talk
Okay.
to the residents of that community?
Have you spoken to the residents that are around the property in that community?
No, ma'am, we have not. We're acquiring the property from 2 of the residents, and the largest property line that we abut to is from an individual that we're buying property from. And that lady is Miss Robin Stewart.
If I may inject, that is in my district. I have spoken to maybe 10 to 20 people in the area. I have one who are in favor of it. She happens to be a retired realtor from Shealy Realty. The others are adamantly against it. In fact, to the point that Ms. Trotter, whose property is in the right rear corner, has been very adamant about it to the point of an email outlining the concerns about her children, etc., in that area. But I have had direct contact with those people.
Jim, Chad, did y'all hear that?
Yes, we did. We're very cognizant of the neighbors that are surrounding our properties. This corridor, West Church Street, is the commercial corridor for your community. If you're just down the road, you have the Walmart Supercenter with its large number of stores in that area, and the trip generation of the traffic gets up to about 9,400 vehicles a day there. So it's not appreciably more. We certainly are cognizant of the people that are surrounding us. That is why we're putting up fencing. That's why we're putting up the intensive landscaping. A 6-foot high fence, I don't believe people are going to be climbing over and coming onto the property. This is a corridor that abuts right across the street. You have commercial property, and we would like very much to be there. You do know that staff has approved the rezoning, and the planning commission was unanimously approval of the rezoning.
I have one other question.
All right, one more.
What sets this store apart from the other 13 gas dispensers that we already have in our area? What makes it unique that will pull people into our community and not just make the pie that's served thinner slices?
Well, Sprint is a very upscale establishment that really and truly is what we would call the next level convenience. That being the case, it's got quality stations for coffee, food, snacks, fuel, very clean, more on the line of a Sheetz. If you've ever been to seen the Sheetz convenience store, this is very similar to what is being done in North Carolina. The store employs about 30 employees, and it certainly will expand your tax base, and they will really become a very valuable corporate partner to the city of the town of Batesburg. We're excited about the opportunity to come here. We know that this is a quality facility that will be supported by you, our customer.
One last question directly to you. Is this is the status under contract or sale pending?
Well, it's sale pending.
So this is not an issue?
We are under contract to purchase by the end of May 27th.
So you've satisfied all contingencies?
We are ready to start. Once we get our approval, we certainly anticipate starting this construction this summer, and our hope is to be open before the end of the year.
Any other questions?
I have questions for legal.
Okay, I don't believe there's any other questions.
Thank you. We certainly look forward to coming to your community.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Hall, for Chris.
Okay. I have one for Chris and I have a couple for Mr. Luckadoo.
Sure, go ahead, the floor.
Let's go with Mr. Luckadoo.
Okay.
What was the attendance at the planning commission meeting?
The number of people off the top of my head, I do not have that in front of me at this time. I know it was enough for a quorum.
Typically, it is 4, which is a quorum. 2 vacant seats, we had 2 vacant seats, so 4 would be a quorum. Based on the minutes of last year, all those meetings, 4 is the normal number of people there, so it was not a unanimous, it was 4 out of 9 seats. Okay, the legal question is on the split zoning of the lot. For Mr. Spradley, we are currently, because the lot still belongs to Ms. Stewart, we are split zoning that lot. If this sale falls through and nothing is 100% until the money is exchanged, what is our recourse if we do go ahead and change that zoning?
Did you hear the question?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, so the way he explained it was, if we move forward with the rezoning of the property, which is 2 whole parcels and 1 where there's a .09 acre strip that they're acquiring from Ms. Robin Stewart to be able to meet the setbacks. They're acquiring the property, but right now, if it were to be rezoned, that property, until the purchase was final, it would be a split zoned piece of property. Certainly if the contract goes through, the lines will be redrawn and it would no longer be split, but if something were to fall through with the contract or the sale of the property, what recourse would we have with a split zone piece of property?
I can't see anything.
You can't see anything? Go to slide 51 there. Ma'am.
No.
Oh.
Put me back on video where I can see the conference room. And who's talking?
Hold on.
Council seat 8.
I don't want to see the Lincoln County, thank you, that's what I want right there. Now, I want the question from who's asking it, not somebody that's interpreting the question.
Talk into the mic, Mr.
The question is that we are essentially split zoning the Robin Stewart piece of property because it has not officially been sold. If for some reason the sale does fall through, which is unlikely but possible, what recourse do we have? We are setting a precedent of split zoning a piece of property. And I believe that is a precedent, is it not?
You are zoning a piece of property that is under contract as one piece of property. It is the only contingency that I know of to the sale going through. So if you do this zoning, you are not split zoning. You are the last step that would make this fall through. So if you go to the zoning, it's not a split zoning. The sale will go through. If you don't do the zoning, it will not sell, and you're still not split zoning. There's a contract in place that this is a contingency of.
Thank you. Okay, just to clean it up for minutes wise, I'll ask for a motion for first reading again on this ordinance to rezone. The property is located at 259 West Church Street, Lexington County TMS 00591805-018. R3 multifamily residential adjacent vacant parcel along West Church Street, Lexington County TMS 591805-007. R3 multifamily residential. And a portion of 210 North Carolina Avenue, Lexington County 591805-008. R2 family residential to C1 general commercial. Do I have a motion for first reading?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Prowse. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wise. Any other discussion on this?
Yes.
Ms. Johnny May?
Guys, yes, Ted, with the rezoning of this property and with, what you want to put there, how will it benefit the people in the town of Batesburg-Leesville? What benefits will come of it?
Well, I would say it provides more options for people. It does, they may be able to provide a better fuel price in the moment. And so it does create competition, if you want to say that. I would say that the increase in tax base certainly benefits business licensing that comes from it, the hospitality tax revenue that comes from it. For citizens in our town, certainly any and all times that we get, whether it's new homes or new commercial buildings or whatever the new development or improvements to existing buildings, it's an increase in the tax base for the community. And anytime you're increasing the tax base or the revenues of the town, you're certainly lowering the potential of the need to increase taxes if our goods and services or our cost for services increase. And our cost of providing services do increase over time. But if you can keep new development coming in and increase the tax base, that certainly can be a benefit to the people of the town in reducing our need to have to increase taxes.
Thank you, Ms. Johnny.
I have something.
Ms. Mitchell?
I said I wasn't gonna do it, but I spoke to 3 of the elder people in that area. They don't want it. They don't want the noise late at night. And I don't feel like you should impose something like that on old people. I just don't think it's right. So, I mean, you got 12 or 13 of them here now. This place is not gonna give us any more than the rest of them are. So, you may say it will, but it won't. It's gonna be the same. So it don't make sense to impose something on them old people up there, because there's a bunch of old people up there, and to impose the noise that's gonna take place with all the traffic and everything. It's gonna be an imposition. So I don't think it's right.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Luckadoo, I believe you gave me numbers. We're talking a $5,000 to $7,000 increase in real estate property taxes.
Right.
Which is the only for sure long-term increase, because if we do not generate new business, you're simply spreading the existing business, so therefore business licenses will level out. Also, hospitality tax will be equal. If you sell $50,000 worth of food today and you're selling $50,000 worth of food a year from now, hospitality tax is not increased even if they do half the business.
Well, I mean, you can certainly say that it gets spread out, but you can't say that it doesn't increase. Certainly any and all options. So you can't guarantee it's going to increase and not just spread it, but like with every fast food restaurant that's come, that's certainly going to spread people's money out and it's going to divide it among the restaurants. But as you look, the restaurants as a whole across the board, all of them continue to increase.
I just don't want to see another Walmart situation where we bring a convenience store in and we have locally owned convenience stores that close the doors.
Any other discussion?
I'd like to say a couple things. Our current crop of gas stations and convenience stores in the town are aging, most of which have not been updated in many, many years. I think a new competitor in town will improve the quality overall of the stations that we visit. This one will bring new equipment as far as pumps and options and things like that. In addition, if, anytime you introduce competition in an area, generally speaking, when a new player raises the bar, the old players have to kind of pick up the pace and keep up. And that's not a bad thing. I think that could be a benefit for the town as a whole, because it may not, but it may cause some of our current convenience store, gas station owners to improve their product that they deliver to the general public. I think that's a good thing. With regard to location of the store specifically, my understanding is, and I don't have a recollection of the past that included this, but my understanding from discussions is that across corner from this specific location that we're talking about used to be a gas station many years ago. Now, obviously, it's been quite some time since that was the case, and people have grown accustomed to not having that specific traffic-related, I don't call it a burden, but that traffic-related flow, I guess, hasn't been there for some time. But you know, the reality is, if we've got Highway 23 and Highway 1 as our main commercial corridors, and if we can't develop these or allow these to develop, then what good are we doing? I mean, we're here to make positive impacts for our town, for our residents, and part of that is increasing opportunities for them to make their own choices regarding their purchases. In addition to those things, the main portion of this property that we're discussing rezoning is currently zoned as R3. Is that correct, Tim? I have a hard time imagining, given the size of these properties, how any developer could come in and develop multifamily housing on such a shallow property relative to Highway 23. If we defeat this now, we condemn this property to sit, I think, for many years more, just sitting and waiting. You know, obviously, we do need to take into consideration the opinions and needs of the immediate neighbors around here. That is important. I do wonder, though, the seller of the main portions of property, are we going to deny this and tell that seller that, I'm sorry, we can't allow your sale to proceed, even though you're offering a product that somebody's willing to buy? I don't know that person's situation financially. It could be fine. It could be a person in need. I don't know that. But I do know that the future development of our town is contingent upon our ability to see forward a little further into the future and view things like this gas station convenience store as a positive. If we need to make request of the developer to enhance certain features to make it more bearable for the neighbors, I think that's a discussion we can have at a later time. But right now, I think we should move forward with the approval of this rezoning request. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Prowse. Any other discussion? Okay, again, this is first reading of ordinance to rezone these properties to C1 General Commercial. District 1?
Mr. Long votes no.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
No.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
No.
District 6?
I'll vote yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
No.
And I vote yes. First reading has passed. Moving on to new business number 6, discussion and approval of projects for submission to the Lexington County Capital Project Sales Tax Commission. I'm going to turn the floor over to Assistant Town Manager Jay Hendricks.
All right, good evening. You have a handout at your desk that just kind of gives you the background of what the Capital Project Sales Tax Commission is. In 2014, the County of Lexington did what was called Pennies for Progress. This is the same thing with a different name. In 2014, it went to a vote and was voted down by the citizens of Lexington County. It is coming back again in 2020 for another attempt. Big change this time. In 2014, there were multiple capital projects that were on that. We had submitted a project for a sidewalk, and we presented a project for wastewater improvements. The big change for 2020 is this is all about roads, roads, roads. They wanted to streamline it and make it very clear that the goal was to improve the roads in Lexington County with this 1 cent sales tax increase. We have been tasked with presenting projects to this commission for consideration. The first page you saw is the grading sheet for that commission, which includes direct economic impact, which is 10%, community impact, which is 20%, readiness to proceed, which is 20%, population geographic area affected, another 10%, innovation, 10%, return on investment, 10%. So that score will be graded, and the projects will be ranked. In 2014, we did present 5 projects. We have 3 of those back again. Those were the road projects. If you flip towards the back of your packet, those projects included reworking of the West Church Street and Pine Street intersection. That improvement includes the addition of left turn lanes eastbound and westbound along West Church Street, the expansion of the turn radii at the intersection between Pine Street and Church Street, and re-signalization of the intersection. In 2014, that was estimated at $920,000, which included engineering, project, and construction management. It did not include the cost of purchase and demolition of the corner building. That's the SALT this time. And there's also the traffic count for you. The second item that we had, and in 2014, that first project was the #2 project on the list for Pennies for Progress. The second item is the intersection of West Church Street and Mitchell Street, where Sonic and Wendy's are located. That would include the addition of left turn lanes for eastbound and westbound along West Church Street. Again, expansion of the turn radii for 3 of the 4 turns, as well as realignment on that intersection. In 2014, that was estimated at $850,000. That was the number 8 ranking project. You also have the traffic count there as well. And then the third item that was presented was the repaving or resurfacing of North Oak Street from Highway 1 to Highway 23. That's 4,400 square yards of full depth pavement removal and replacement, and 2,800 square yards of 2-inch cold mill asphalt surface. So that basically grinding it and repaving it. In 2014, that was estimated at $395,000. And that was the number 43 ranked project. We are proposing that we resubmit these. We've already sent information to Alliance Engineering to get some, they're doing the cost estimation. They already had all this information from 2014. So they're going to work the estimated costs. They didn't have that available as of yet. If you vote to move forward with these, they will work up those projects along with the other projects throughout the county, and they will provide, as you see on those last 3 pages, that 1-page information that comes from Alliance that gives the basic project description, scope elements, and the estimation of cost. One thing to keep in mind, the rest of that document is our working document, the checklist, where we give the project description, some of the planning for it, tax map information, the adjoining properties. One thing to keep in mind while these cost estimates are worked up by engineers, it is important to know that overruns would be responsibility of the town of Batesburg-Leesville. So it kind of is a deterrent to presenting 20 projects, at least that's my opinion.
Mr. Hendricks, so these numbers are from 2014?
Yes, these are not the numbers we are approving. We're just approving these projects. Alliance Engineering will be reworking the numbers, and they will.
Before this is submitted?
Yes, yes.
And what is the due date again?
Well, we have to send information to them by May the 1st.
Okay.
They will not have all those numbers available, is my understanding. That is, that gives them time to work up the numbers on all the various projects, and then the commission will.
How long have you known about the May 1st date?
I'll defer to the town manager perhaps on that one.
I think we got the packet from them about a month ago. That's when we started pulling out the existing road improvements from then, looking at those and working on those with Alliance.
We have a local rep on the commission, I believe.
We actually have two.
We have two, so we didn't know that May 1st was going to be the deadline until 30 days ago. I'm just concerned that we seem to have a trend of where we're creating immediate deadlines and requiring instantaneous decisions from council, where other people are having up to a year or more to draw up proposals. This is an up and down vote. This is not there are other options available, such as Saluda Avenue and Highway 23.
Well, I think we can, this is not a definitive list, Mr. Hall. This is why we're discussing it. I think if you have something that you would like staff to look at in addition to these, I know that some were taken off this list that were on 2014 because this is limited to just road improvements, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are, the three that are in front of us, are these all of the road improvement ones that were on that list from 2014 that we submitted?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these were already looked at by prior council. Okay, so in addition to that, Mr. Hall, would you talk a little bit more about what you were saying on Saluda Avenue, please?
There is a traffic problem, is there not, Chief, at the corner of Saluda and Pine Street, Saluda and Church Street Avenue?
Oh, you mean for a red light, is that what you're saying?
Yes, well, for traffic considerations for that intersection.
There's a lot of intersections that we could use red lights, I mean, that would be one of them, yes.
Exactly.
Okay. Do we have a list of county roads that are inside the city limits, and any are any of them dirt?
Yes, there are county dirt roads inside.
Inside the city limits, don't you think maybe paving dirt roads for some of our citizens would also rank high on the consideration list?
One, and I'm going off the top of my head. I know that the repaving of approximately 1 mile is about $400,000. I believe the information I read is repaving or paving a dirt road is closer to $800,000 per mile. So the price goes up significantly because of other engineering issues.
So because of the price, it's not worth doing.
That's
what you're saying, right?
No, ma'am. I'm making you aware of the cost. That's
But
an
you're
extreme.
saying because of the price, it's not worth doing.
I didn't say that. I said that I was giving you cost information that is a very serious concern where we're talking about a stretch of Oak Street for $395,000, I believe, for that number.
Now, actually, staying in our own lane, these changes are, except for the Oak Street, they have other funding sources for which primary responsibility. The roads at the intersections that you mentioned are all the responsibility of SCDOT?
Yes, sir. And that is the
And
case.
have we exhausted every single effort to get SCDOT, every effort to get SCDOT to shoulder that responsibility?
No.
Well, I think certainly we would continue to make those efforts, but I know that we have made lots of efforts. I've only been on staff since August, but I know multiple attempts have been made, and I'll defer to Teddy. He's been on staff much longer.
There have been numerous site meetings, traffic analysis, traffic count analysis. We've had DOT at Pine Street and Mitchell Street intersection numerous times in the 6 years that I've been here, asking them to look and try and find a resolution. What it boils down to is the pots of money that DOT has. The pot of money that DOT controls right now the focus on that is being placed on interstate widening, improvements to dilapidated bridges, and rural safety. So those rural roads that are deemed to be unsafe, that need to be widened and have the audible strips, the little ridges in the road. That is the primary focus of all the gas tax increase and their money that they're bringing in. Now, we do have what is sent to Central Midlands Council of Governments on an annual basis, the Transportation Committee, and that pot of money is what has been doing a lot of the resurfacing that we've seen here in town, in addition to about, I think it was around $7 million that Lexington County had received back in seed fund money, gas tax money that they're normally divvy out to other less populated counties. Those have been responsible for the resurfacing that we've seen in town. Now, I know you mentioned Highway 23. Again, I would remind council that Highway 23 will be resurfaced in this calendar year, and they will begin that process soon. The surveying has recently been done for that. So Highway 23 will be resurfaced.
Right.
You know, as far as Saluda Avenue and Highway 23 or Church Street, West Church Street, certainly 18-wheelers can have a hard time turning out of there due to traffic sometimes. I don't disagree with that. I think a light could resolve maybe a little bit of expansion on the right turning radius going off of 23 on the Saluda Highway for those trucks going to Ament Farms. I think that is something that could benefit that intersection, but certainly a light would be a benefit, but that would be the call of DOT as they make those determinations.
But that could be a project submitted, correct?
Certainly could be, absolutely.
Well, for your comment about 23 being paving, it just shows we're going to repave it next year, and then we're asking them to come back and tear it up.
But they wouldn't be tearing up the whole road.
No, but major parts.
Yeah, it'd be great if that could all just be perfect, but we know that that's just not the way it works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any more discussion? So this is West Church Street at Pine Street intersection, West Church Street at Mitchell Street intersection, North Oak Street resurfacing, and also at Councilmember Hall's request, Saluda Highway at 23 intersection.
All right, we can add that. Are there any other road projects that would like to be added to that?
Can we add Livingston Lane on that?
Certainly.
Is that?
The resurfacing, or is it something above and beyond resurfacing?
Okay.
No, I'm asking you just talking about resurfacing or anything else in addition to that?
No, just resurfacing.
Okay.
When you resurf a highway, all the potholes and all of that stuff that's there, that takes care of it, right?
Right, so a lot of times what happens in a road resurfacing, not all the time, it depends on the condition of the road and it depends on what lies beneath the road. A lot of times before they'll come through and just put a whole new surface on top of the existing surface. Depending on the condition, they may actually have to grind up a couple inches of the existing and come back and lay new on top of that, or they may have to go all the way back down to dirt. In the instance of Oak Street, their recommendation, due to the condition of that, is to take it back to dirt and start over, at least from the railroad back to Highway 1 portion of that.
On Oak Street?
But from the railroad track to Highway 23, they're just recommending to do a new layer on top of the existing layer, based on the current existing conditions of the roadway. So Livingston Lane, we would have to have them come out, look at it to see if their thought process is to just do a layer on top of it. Livingston Lane, is that what it said? We would have to have them come out and look at the existing conditions to see if that's right for just
Now,
putting
I
a new
see
layer.
Oak Street, because Oak Street is bad.
Okay.
It's bad, from the track to number 1, it's real bad.
Mhm.
So I can see that. But where else are you talking about?
In the current list that we have,
Yeah,
it's the addition, it's widening of the turn radiuses of the 4 corners of Mitchell and Highway 23 to add turn lanes to those intersections.
Can you give us a landmark there?
Where Sonic and Wendy's intersection, it would be east and westbound on Highway 23. It would be the inclusion of left turn
what
lanes.
to it?
What's that? I'm
What are
sorry.
you gonna do?
It would be the addition of left turn lanes, and it would be widening it out a little bit on the corners to allow for left turn lanes.
So who made the list?
Actually, these three projects that we brought up were actually approved and on the referendum ballot in 2014. And we're just bringing them back up for this one because they were transportation related. And all 3 of these are issues in town that need to be addressed. So we felt like keeping them on this year's referendum list was the right thing to do, these 3 projects. Certainly, we can go out and look at Livingston Lane at the condition of that and see what the recommended scope of work is for that, and have them work on a cost opinion to include that on the list.
If I may, Mr. Luckadoo.
Yes, sir.
Livingston Lane is staying in our lanes. Livingston Lane is the responsibility of the county. Is that a county road?
I think that is the DOT road. Off the top of my head, hang on.
It is.
It is.
So it is DOT,
It's a
so.
DOT.
All right, no, I was thinking if it was a county road, maybe we have some input into what they repave and as such, but.
Okay, so we have West Church Street at Pine Street, West Church Street at Mitchell Street, we have North Oak resurfacing, we have Saluda Highway and 23 intersection improvement, and Livingston Lane resurfacing. Any other discussion on this?
What, did you look at
Ms.
Line
Mitchell?
Street? When you was doing this, did you look at Line Street?
Which
Because
part?
we got more potholes than Carter got liver pills.
They don't remember Carter.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm not
remember.
familiar with Carter.
I mean, have you considered it? Have you even wrote down it? Have you looked at it? Honestly,
I
I mean, honestly.
There are numerous roads in town that have pothole issues, and that have been exacerbated through this winter with a lot of rain. This was not necessarily an attempt to get roads repaved. It was specifically, the main 2 items was that intersection Line Street and Highway 23, or Pine Street and 23, and Mitchell Street and 23. Those are the 2 biggest ones, because it would require a lot of engineering work. It would require a significant amount of work beyond just resurfacing. Those were the 2 biggest ones that we identified because of the significance there. Resurfacing, I don't disagree. There are many roads in town that need to be resurfaced. That wasn't the specific intent of this. We included the Oak Street resurfacing because that is a town road. We are ultimately responsible for that. And personally, if we can get somebody else to pay for it, then that would save the town $400,000+. Line Street, just as Livingston Lane, they need resurfacing, but
Yeah. they need
ideally,
something there.
SCDOT, or we can get C funds through the county to pay for those as well. It wasn't necessarily an attempt to just try to get as many roads repaved. That was the intent, was to tackle those 2 big intersection issues that we have. Does that answer your question?
But go ahead.
I don't, is there more questions to Okay, it passes.
Did you want to add that to the list for resurfacing as a potential, Ms. Mitchell?
Well, it should
This
have been
list?
on there anyway.
But, I mean, there's tons that should be on there.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I mean,
In the perfect world, we would resurface every street in the town of Batesburg-Leesville and have fresh streets.
We ain't talking about in a perfect world, we talking about what should and shouldn't be done. We ain't talking about a perfect world, because you'll never have that. If you got too many crazy people in line, in this world to have a perfect world. So we ain't gonna even discuss that.
thank you. Any other discussion on this? Any other project? Okay, so I have West Church Street at Pine Street intersection, West Church Street at Mitchell Street intersection, the North Oak resurfacing, Saluda Highway at 23 intersection, Livingston Lane resurfacing, and Line Street resurfacing. Any other discussion on this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Hall?
Mr. Mayor, is this a resolution?
This would be one vote,
It's just a vote,
it's just a vote
it's just a vote of council.
of council
On the
support. This is not,
Support.
we do not, we're sending this is our vote for them, and they approve it.
Just
We
wanted to
do-
know how
Yeah.
formal we're.
No, I asked
We're not approving.
the same question, and they just said it needs to be a vote of council in support of this list of projects, and that's what was stated to us, and it's on the checklist. So,
Do I have a motion?
Call for the vote.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Gambrell. Do I have a second?
Motion to accept the list.
By Mr. Hall. I already had a motion on the table. Is that a second, Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3? He's left. District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yeah.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. It has passed. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Gambrell, second by Mr. Hall. Any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yeah.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. We are adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, gentlemen.